Hey, welcome to Tough Guys. On this episode, we are going to be showing you guys how we take apart pallets. I realize there's probably 100 other videos out there, probably even more than that, about how to do this process. I figured since we need to take these apart anyways, and we're gonna do like a pallet wall inside the house, which will be a separate video, I figured why not just show you guys the way I do it and what materials and products and tools that I use to take them apart. Maybe there's some kind of nugget of special info in there. And maybe you just like seeing me do stuff. I don't know. So let's take a look and go through the process of how we take apart pallets. So to show you guys what we're going to use to take these things apart, we've got the Ridgid reciprocating saw. This is a corded kind. It does plug into the wall. This is the little case that it came with, and I've just got a bunch of extra blades kind of stored in there. I use the one that plugs in simply because on this type of a project, where we're using it that much, I find that we have a battery operated one as well. I just feel like it runs out of battery too fast. Here is our cordless one. You can see it looks almost identical to the other one, except for that it's got the plug in here for the battery. My idea was to try out the new hyperoctane battery that we got, this big giant battery that has the Bluetooth connectivity, and basically see how it does, how long it holds up to cutting as compared to the regular old tiny batteries that I would use in the reciprocating saw before. So just want to do a full preview of all the stuff that we use to do a project like this. And lastly, just to show off the blades that I picked up, these are by MILWAUKEE. They are the torch. They're for metal. I think they're actually for thick metal. I think it's a 9-inch blade. Here's one that we've already used a little bit. So if you are first time you're trying this, and immediately the blade starts to look like this is completely normal. It's what's gonna happen when that thing is being used. It's gonna rub off all that paint finish. But when you do something from MILWAUKEE, Diablo is another great brand. And this is the connector side that hooks into any of these type of saws. So these are the blades that we're gonna use. We got a 5-pack, should not need this many for what we're doing. Normally I can get through, I think we have 8 to 10. I can get through, just a couple of blades would be just enough for that. Okay, we have the fan going, so it's a little bit noisier, but I wanted to show the stack of pallets. We've got a couple hiding over here as well, so just to better illustrate why I use this type of a saw, that long blade, I'm actually trying to get it into this groove and run that thing all the way down to pop these off. There are people that'll take these apart and just run a circular saw and you just basically cut it right here, and then you can either cut again down the center or only pry the middle off. I am a really big fan of trying to catch these nail heads on the perimeter. So the way I do it is cutting through this part, going all the way down. Basically underneath there, you see a nail there is kind of totally exposed. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get that to be left in there, that nail head. I really like the way that looks when that stays in the wood. So that's a quick overview of the pallets. You can see we only have I think we have about 10 between this and over here. So that's what we're gonna start with. We're gonna start by just plugging the battery in. This only has about 3/4. I'm gonna get it hooked into that app on my phone again to just see how it does. I'm just kind of interested to see, in comparison to the corded version, how well that does. As far as hooking the blades into these things, it is super easy. This is kind of spins this lock, and that allows you to feed the tooth in as you need to. So I'm gonna loosen it up first. See if I can get a good angle to show you guys. And then now that is in place, I'm pulling on that, and that is locked in there, and that's what you're looking for. Get my hand out of the way. Now this guy here does move depending on the angle that you're entering into the area. That's what that's for. And this can actually come all the way out if you don't want it. I do like to have that guard on there personally, but if you're doing a project like this and you need that extra blade space, you could take that out, and then you've got some more room for the blade to kind of bend around those corners on the pallets that you may need. So that set up, let's see what we can do. And we got my firm grip. I use the the kind of the fingerless ones that have these fingers covered. These are my favorite ones from Firm Grip. You can see I've used these things a ton. I really like being able to have access to these fingers and protecting this part of my hand a lot as I'm, you know, grabbing these pieces of wood and moving the pallets around. So just wanted to show the gloves that I like using for stuff like this. The one thing you're gonna want is a nice sturdy place to lean it. To lean these things, I generally use my table saw or something in the shop just to lean them so it's something sturdy. And then I'm gonna be able to go down each side and cut all those nails out. So we're gonna start with that process. See, that went through really fast. There's only one nail to get. I'm gonna reposition the camera to show you guys the next spot. You can see this one here is a little bit tighter. So you could come in with a pry bar to kind of get it loose. If you get that blade right in that edge though, it works out pretty well. There, it gets into the wood a little bit, but it shears off those nails nice and quick. You can see that we went through that process in about, I don't even know, 30 seconds. It was nothing. It goes right down the side. If you have good blades and good placements of the blades, it goes very quick. This isn't tough work. You just gotta have a nice place to set it up. It gets a little bit messy, and take your time getting the blade where it needs to be. So let me rip down the other side, and then I'll show you how we do the center line. All right, so next I'm gonna show how to get this center piece. You can see it's wobbling now because both ends are loose. So what I do is I'm gonna take the reciprocating saw blade and I'm gonna come in at an angle of the interior. I'm gonna lift this up for a second so you guys can see. I'm gonna come in at an angle over the top side and I'm gonna put that blade in the gap, and that's how we're gonna do this. So I'm gonna set the camera back down and I'm gonna cut through that center piece there to show you guys how easy it comes through. See, this falls loose once you get it free. It's just gonna fall down. So make sure you've got the area clear when you're cutting off the center pieces. And I normally set up the sawhorses just to lay out the boards once I've cut them. I mean, look how great that looks. You've got all the ends still in place. Nothing's cut. You've got the full length boards. And now I can really lay them out to get a sense of how much I'm recovering. Back over here with this piece, notice I have a few boards on the back side that I can save. And there's even some cool stuff that you can do with these notched out centers that are 2x. I do save those as well, but you know, for the sake of this, we're just gonna flip this around and do the same thing on the other side and then see how much more we can salvage. All right, so we've got a good amount of pallet wood already stored back. And just for the sake of the video, I'm gonna show you guys how to do it the other way that I mentioned when you have a circular saw and you just wanna rip down the sides. I actually have a pallet down here on the floor behind me that it's not in good shape. The edges are really beat up. I'll show you guys here in a sec. And I figured it would be a good opportunity to show you how to do it with the circular saw, just ripping down the sides and then only cutting the center supports. So here's that pallet. And as you can see, these edges are just torn up badly. Not a lot I really care to save with edges like that. So what I want to do is I'm going to use the cordless circular saw here, the Gen 5, and I'm going to cut as close to this support as I can, and I'm going to rip that down both ends, only leaving the center. Now if you wanted, you could cut down the center too on both sides and just make a bunch of small planks. Sometimes that's what people want. They just need these smaller pieces to maybe make signs or any number of pieces of furniture with like a chevron top. So maybe you don't need the full length board. So I'm gonna use this board to show how that process might work. All right, we're gonna start by ripping down this side. Now in the position that this thing is in, you can actually see the top and the bottom. I didn't do a great job of cutting this straight, but just to show, run that down with a circular saw on both sides, and now you've got these boards relatively free where you can go ahead and cut the centers, or run the circular saw down the center as well to make a bunch of small cuts. See, after taking about 4 of these apart, we've got a really nice stack of lumber. And again, just to get that detail, even those nail heads, I just love that look. I've got some really nice wood so far. Those are some ones that I basically just cut down the center on both, on that one that was a little bit in worse shape. And then on the back here, you can see these support pieces where they always have these cool little brands in them. And you can do cool stuff with these too. If you're building planter boxes or tables or whatever, you know, having those notched pieces out of the 2x4s are really cool. So I like to save as many of those as I can as well. And like I said, just set up a couple sawhorses and just kind of stack the wood as I go. So I can kind of assess the condition. You know, some of these are in pretty bad shape, but I like to save as many of them as I can as we're taking these apart. Well, hey, I hope that this video helped you guys out. It's just a quick tip video on how we take apart these pallets. I didn't want to, you know, if there's anything that you think I should go through in more detail, please comment and let us know. I can always do like a round 2 of this video or show more depth on our process, but I at least wanted to show you guys how we do it. And like I said, we are going to be using a ton of this lumber plus a bunch of it that we have stored to do like a pallet wall inside. So when we do that, it'll be really exciting, and we'll bring you guys along for that one. So again, thanks for watching. If you love what we do, please consider subscribing to the channel, because it does, you know, give us the ability to make more of these videos. And again, let us know what you thought. Find us on social media at Tough Guys TV for Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And thanks for watching. See you guys in the next project.